Hello, everyone. Greetings from the Orlando airport. So I'm heading off to the next Celiac Cruise in Alaska. And so we're joining you today. I'm in the airport. So I'm going to be muted quite a bit in case there's announcements. But if you're ready to get going, we'll get going. How's that?
Sounds great. Well, we hope you all are getting very excited. This has been long coming, but all of a sudden, like most vacations do, well, you look at the calendar and it's almost here. So here's just a quick overview of what we are going to be going through today. Just generally speaking, some questions that you all have been asking. So we will try and cover those as we get through this. Some of those will be built into all of these things, but just an overview of things like that. And yeah, so we're very proud. This cruise actually will be number 27, lucky 27. Alaska about to start on September 12th. It will be number 26, but as many of you know, this will be our inaugural Celiac Cruise with Oceania. And when I say they are excited, they are excited. I don't know if I've ever seen such a food and beverage team so plugged in, just so many questions, just absolutely committed to everything that they said they would be from the very beginning. So everybody and anyone will be sailing with us, it sounds like, from the corporate team, the corporate chefs, the corporate F&B. So we've got quite the lineup of everybody. So it's very special that you all get to be a part of this. And I was looking at the Facebook group and just I see a lot of familiar names, which is very exciting. So it's going to be a little bit of a reunion. And also those of you who we have not met before. I hope you're ready to join an amazing, amazing family because that is definitely what this has become. So we love this size of group. It just gives you a chance to really get to know everybody. And whether you want to or not, I mean, you can also have a private vacation, people. It's not a big social event, but it is something kind of special that I think many of you who have sailed with us before have noticed. So old friends and new friends will definitely be a part of this. So yes. So many of you probably know, but this is where we're going. So we'll be meeting you all in Athens. Connie and I and Vanessa from the Celiac Disease Foundation will be sailing the week before. I know, poor us. We will be sailing, that cruise leaves September 24th from Istanbul. So we will be on board the week before, doing what we do best, reviewing all the ingredients, vetting every single detail, training the entire food and beverage crew, all of that. So just going over every detail, checking it twice, checking it probably 20 times like we do. But that will all be happening as you're packing, or maybe some of you will already be over in Europe. So this is where we're going. It looks like a pretty amazing itinerary, if I do say so myself. But yes, October 3rd.
It is an amazing itinerary, that each stop is just spectacular, and Oceania has some amazing shore excursions available in each one of those. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at those yet, I would encourage you to because their shore excursions are fantastic. This is our restaurant. Wow. So it used to be called Ember, and during our sailing, they are changing the name to Jacques. So this is our home away from home for 10 nights. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is going to be 100% gluten-free, and it will be ours for breakfast, lunch, dinner. And they're also going to be serving room service out of here. So that's a real treat, don't you think, Maureen?
Oh, yes. I mean, again, for us to be able to say yes, room service is, we always want to say yes, room service, but as we were saying in a webinar the other day for a different cruise, usually the reason we have to say no is due to safety things, but there is no safety concerns as it relates to room service because everything will be coming directly from this galley. This restaurant has its own private galley, and we are going to have our own private line to call for room service for us. I mean, they've just thought of every single detail too. I mean, just to ensure nothing goes through to the wrong places, things come to the wrong. So it's just really, really amazing to see all the thought and detail that's been brought into this. So we can have those experiences, and we are able to, have a breakfast on your veranda instead of having to go to the place and then taking it back. So it's really exciting. So, and then also, as we've talked about before, and we'll cover this more in depth, we will be having lunch stations prepared so people can take to go things on excursions, and that will also be taking place in a little side station here in that restaurant in Jacques.
This is my favorite slide because we're going to be having Jacques all week, right? The whole 10 nights, but they're going to sprinkle in items from each of the other 3 specialty restaurants into our menu. So we have specialty all 10 nights. Most times when you go on Oceania, you get specialty in each restaurant one time. We get it 10 times. So this will be our home away from home, like I said, but the specialty items from those specialty restaurants will be sprinkled into our menus, and they look terrific. They really look terrific. Here, we already mentioned breakfast, lunch, and dinner, late night snacks, room service, quick service. They've even thought about how are they going to handle the captain's party and the past hors d'oeuvres. I mean, there are so many things that they have done for us. This is going to be really spectacular. They've gone above and beyond, don't you think, Maureen?
Oh, most definitely. And, one things that we always like to know, there will be certain events that they're just making 100% gluten-free, and the rest of the ship may not know about it, but you all will know about it because we want to ensure that you can participate and, past hors d'oeuvres and things like that. So, we all kind of sit back and smile when ultimately everyone is eating gluten-free and they might not even know the difference. So yes, that's the level of commitment that is taking place from this cruise line, which makes me very proud.
There
So
we are on our site inspection.
yes. How do we do this? So there's, as many of you know, Connie and I have sailed already on this ship. We have been down to Miami 2 to 3 times, meeting with the culinary and food and beverage teams. There's been endless meetings and such. So that has all taken place, again, which is why we are so incredibly confident, because you can already see that you just know. I mean, any of the cruise lines we've worked with, I mean, many of you have sailed with us on AMA Waterways, and it's that same level of, we're not just sending anyone, we're sending the best. And the best have shown up to every single meeting. At the time, when Frank Del Rio was the president of Oceania, he showed up to these meetings. I mean, that's the level of excitement and I think commitment that they have for just kind of kicking off this partnership. And as many of you know, we're doing another one next October with them. So they're as excited as we are. So, but obviously they've already had some preliminary trainings on celiac. I mean, Oceania prides themselves as being essentially the foodie cruise line, right? I mean, what's the statistics they say per passenger? There's 4 chefs, or no, one chef per 4 passengers, or something
Right. And they
insane.
spend more money on food ingredients than any other cruise line. Yes.
Yes. So they're committed. Connie and I very quickly reminded them of those statements in their beginning of meetings. And we said, we want to make sure that, we're showing that to our guests as well. And, I think that stood out to them from the very beginning, because we were reminding them of what they scream out loud. So they have definitely, stepped up in terms of product ordering and things like that. Wanted us involved in that as well, which I think is another statement of commitment. We are bringing some products on from Europe as well, which is exciting to try, some different products as opposed to the things that we are traditionally getting in the US. So they are sourcing some of the products from Europe. So that is exciting. And also doing a lot of baking themselves, with flowers and things like that. So you're not going to just have the prepackaged things and stuff. So the culinary team, the pastry chef, everybody is very excited, and they're already practicing. So we'll be doing a lot of tasting the week before. Poor us, I know, but I can tell based upon pictures that they're sending, things look, and videos, things look spongy. They look what we want them to look. So I'm excited for that. But yes, there's been, the ports of call. We've been discussing that in depth with some people actually living in those areas. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in the slideshow. But the menu and the food and beverage discussions, we're actually doing that culinary class, that cooking class. Those details have been reviewed, and the menus have been checked and verified by the Celiac Disease Foundation for safety purposes, but then also the variety and things like that that Connie was talking about earlier. So yes, all of this takes place long, long, long before anyone steps on board. Yes, and like I said, they are sending the best. So the best of the best is what we get, which makes me very proud. But we will be training, just again as our general statement and mission to educate. Everybody obviously in the culinary space knows something about celiac, but what we love and are so proud is that we really do feel like the cruise lines are becoming a bit more educated because of this training that is happening because of us. A few weeks back, I saw something posted in some of these cruise Facebook groups, and someone had just been on the Symphony of the Seas, like I think in August, and we're talking about how amazing the Symphony of the Seas was, and everybody knows what celiac is, and da 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 da. And I was like, that's interesting. We were just on that ship 3 weeks before and trained that entire food and beverage team, and that food and beverage director had extreme interest and really, really, wanted to take that information to heart. So, we hope that this information continues to provide when we walk away, that ongoing information about what celiac truly is and what we need. So what will be happening in that galley during the training, all of the gluten will be removed from that dedicated galley and everything will be replaced with gluten-free ingredients. But again, the inclusiveness is really what we've continued to talk about from the beginning, but making sure that we are receiving that same very, very, very high-end culinary experience that Oceania prides themselves on, but also, what we're able to take on land. Many of you have asked this question, and we have brought it back to, because every cruise line operates differently, right? So we have brought it back to the culinary team as well as the food and beverage team, and they feel very, very confident that they are able to accommodate additional allergens. Obviously, we have some knowledge of who has additional allergens, but your safety is what is our first priority. So we are going to ask that you self-identify and let people know, that first meal. I additionally, I have a dairy allergy. What can I have on this menu today? And they'll walk through that. And then I think from that point on, they will be able to accommodate and create additional things. Sometimes that first, but I know that they have knowledge already of the allergens that are in place. So things will be there and available. So, but just continuously, letting your server know and letting the culinary team know, because we're not cooking the food. You don't want me cooking the food, although I do a decent job, but they're the ones who know what is in those products. So we want to make sure everybody is safe outside of gluten. Obviously, we know gluten is already out of there.
I love this slide because it just shows how amazing, the galleys are and how amazing the chefs are. I think the next slide is the same way. Oops, it's not, but it's just the high quality, very clean, super high standards. It's just going to be incredible. But the next slide, now we're going to talk a little bit about the ship. So the ship just came out with Oceania came out with a new dress code guidelines. It's a little bit different from before. The reason why is because, as you will see in the coming photos, this ship is really classy. And their dress code is country club casual, they call it, or it's smart casual, right? So during the day, you're fine to go to the pool. They don't want you to wear swimsuits into the breakfast or lunch, but you can certainly wear shorts and flip-flops and tennis shoes or whatever during the day. But at night, you can see how it kind of changes there. In the evening, you want to go to the show or want to go anywhere, you'll want to wear some kind of slacks or dress or something, as the evening attire is not quite as casual as the daytime attire. So notice that shorts and t-shirts are not permitted anywhere in public areas during the evening. So just wanted you to prepare for that. It's not fancy. There's no formal nights. There's no dress up nights, but it is something that is just a little bit more than some of the other cruise lines. Everyone's a little bit different. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and we can answer those too. But as you can see, like, the ship is just absolutely gorgeous. It feels like an amazing, the spaces are just gorgeous. The bars and lounges, you know, you walk down this carpeted area here, and you might see a piece stringed, you know, playing classical music. It's really nice. There's a grand piano there, or baby grand, and, you know, instead of hearing, you know, poolside calypso music, you hear, you know, this beautiful piano playing in the lounge. So it's really pretty. And then there's lounges and there's the library. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful ship. And they have shows in the theater that are great. So every night you can see the shows. Look at that. Not one place has a, you know, a obstructed view. So no matter where you sit, and this ship only holds 1,200 guests. So it's not going to be 5,000 or 6,000 people like, you know, some of the other cruise ships are. But this is just, I mean, just look at how gorgeous this is. The top photo is the Horizons Lounge, and that's where you can go and they'll have the captain's cocktail party there. But that's a great place to go up and have a coffee and look out as we're sailing or pulling in and out of port, because look at all those windows all the way around. So we just wanted you to see the ship again and some of the beautiful areas. This is the spa area, and this pool at the bottom is one of the Aquamar spas that they have in the back of the ship that is a thalassotherapy pool. So if you have a concierge class or above, you get to go back here and enjoy this or up here, it's in the front. Enjoy this like heated saltwater pool. This is really cool. So they have a artist loft on the ship, and these classes are free. You just have to sign up for them. And there'll be an artist on board probably, and he or she will be selling their art, but they'll also be teaching you how to do art, and you'll learn whatever art that they're doing and you get to take it home. So that's a cool activity that they offer. But we also are going to offer an amazing option. So Maureen, I'll let you talk about this one.
Well, as many of you know who have sailed with us before, philanthropy is very important to Celiac Cruise. Up to date, we have fed close to 800 families who cannot afford the gluten-free diet, and we're very proud of that. And that has been a big, I mean, because of you all. And, you know, we create events that we find sponsors for, and the sponsors then cover the cost of that. So then we're able to donate 100% of the proceeds of these events, you know, like the Taste of Royal, things like that, beer tastings, things like that on our other ships. So we have one that we're so excited about because it's something that, you know, we always want to do and people always ask about. So we're finally able to do a culinary class. So yes, a cooking class, but culinary obviously is more on par to what this experience is like. So that will take place, I wrote it down, both October 4th and the 5th. At 5 p.m. So what is happening, and there's some pictures we can put some pictures in the Facebook group of this venue. I mean, it's stunning, and this is all it's used for. It's just used for this cooking classes, and everybody has their own stations, and we've already discussed in depth with how the cleaning procedures and everything that's going to be done, and the place is going to be deep cleaned like 36 hours before and then roped off so nothing else can come in and things like that. I mean, that's the level of caution, and that's why we're having ours back to back, so it will remain gluten-free obviously for the class from obviously in the 4th, but then into the 5th, so nothing else will. There'll be no contamination in there between those two dates. But so we're going to learn how to cook a series of things. But what's so great, because normally in our cooking classes, that if you've seen them in different, you know, ships, we sometimes can't eat it, but now you're going to get to eat the food you've created. So, and there's wine. And so there's a side dining room that will happen. And so it's just kind of a twist. Instead of going to dinner in Jacques that night, you'll have dinner here. So it's a smaller group of people. There's 20 people per evening. But wine is included, other beverages, things like that. But yeah, so you'll be able to prepare these 3-4 course meal, and then, go over and eat it with your friends that you've been cooking for the last hour to 90 minutes, I think, with.
And
So
I checked earlier and there are a couple of spots left, even though we sent the link out with that email that went out last week that invited everyone to this. There's still some spots left, and we can also post that, Maureen, in the Facebook group,
yes,
if anybody has any questions or needs the link, because there are only 20 spots in each of the two sessions. And
yeah.
like Maureen said, it's a philanthropic event, so all of the proceeds go to our food insecurity program.
Yes, it's actually the email was sent, if you want to search your email boxes, on August 13th. So I looked at that just to so you can look that's where the registration link was in that email. So that we will post it again in the Facebook group. So if you wanted to register for that, it's a really, really neat, unique opportunity. And these are top chefs, again, that we have the opportunity to do this with. So that was actually one of them. I was I didn't know quite what I was getting into. I think Jeff and I had just been at the pool, and I was like peeking my head in through like what the venue looked like. And all of a sudden there was a chef who had just finished a class or was preparing for one. She's like, come in. And I explained who I was. And she was like, oh my gosh, we've heard all about this. There's been so many calls about Celiac Cruise already. So, I mean, this is just an example of, this is just one of their many chefs that she's been on calls for, won't even necessarily be on the ship when we're there, but was well aware of what we are doing and how they were going to offer this opportunity. So, I think I spent 30 minutes talking to her about all different ideas and things like that. And we have seen the recipes. It's pretty exciting. So I think if it's something you're interested in doing, kind of a unique opportunity for our world. So yeah, check it out. Oh wait, go back real fast. So obviously we're going to have some small sessions throughout this. This is a different type of cruise experience, right? So, I mean, it's so port of call heavy, but we're still going to have some opportunities for people to get together and connect, because we know we love to do that. Maybe some opportunities to meet some of these amazing people who have worked so hard behind the scenes, creating this experience, because I think by day 3, 4, maybe even by day 2, you may want to meet these people because of just their commitment to what makes our hearts very happy. But we are working with some people, as I had referenced earlier, to make sure we have gluten-free guides in ports of call that we'll be traveling to. So if there is a place that we feel safe recommending, you will receive this not a dining guide, but a kind of a gluten-free guide of places that you can check out. We also are discussing, she is a gluten-free chef who lives in Syracuse. Syracusa, I think is a proper way to say it, and about possibly doing a gluten-free food tour. So I'm going to talk about this for a second on the next slide, but just something to plant in your heads if you would be interested. If you don't have anything planned, again, you're still able to make some cancellations, I believe, right, Connie? If this sounded more interesting. Of course, this did just kind of fall into our lap a few weeks ago. Obviously, we put our due diligence to make sure we are comfortable recommending this. So that is why you're hearing about it now, not a few months back, but that's just kind of how the gluten-free cookie crumbled here. So yes, so that is something that we would love to know, and I'll, explain if you are interested, we'd love to know about it. All right, there. So yeah, so this is kind of what I just said already, but we will be providing port of call gluten-free guides if there are places that we feel comfortable you seeing. Obviously, there are some places that people choose to operate how they want to, and use your apps and things like that. But We generally like to stick to dedicated places and things like that, or very, very, very strongly reviewed places that we have had locals visit recently, because we all know how things change over time. We will be providing you translation cards as well at check-in when you arrive. So, if you want to go into town and check things out, that will be an option too. As we've talked about many times, which we're clearly very excited about, to-go lunches will be available. Pre-pack, you'll be able to package those up, select what you want, and then take them into town for your excursions. I know, just because I was exploring a little bit, some of these excursions do talk about food. Obviously, we are always going to tell you to exercise caution. Have a hard time recommending consuming that. Obviously, we know where our safest places are, but we ask you to utilize, whatever you do at home, you're going to ask you to do the same things there. And then for those of you, many of you have traveled to Italy before, some of you haven't, as we are spending a few days through those ports in Italy, that bottom right picture right there. What is so amazing is some of these restaurants, the Italian Celiac Association actually recommends specific restaurants, which is just absolutely mind blowing. I just wish the US would do this. But so you'll see this on the front door. So that's a good way to know, well, actually, the Italian Celiac Association felt safe putting that sticker on there. But again, sometimes it's good to do a second line of defense and check, those apps and things like that. But that is something to know that is a unique thing for Italy. So then I have here, if you are interested in possibly trying this gluten-free food tour before we, run with it, we wanted to kind of gauge interest. So if you are interested in possibly doing that in Syracuse, that would be the day. Please email us and just, it can be as short as yes or no. But yes is what we're looking for. Please email and let us know at info@celiaccruise.com so we can gauge interest and then kind of proceed from there.
And you're not committing to anything, and we don't know the pricing or the details yet. We just want to know if there's interest, to know if it's worth it for her to go ahead and put this package together for us.
Yes. I needed to do my homework. So I spent some time on this the other day because I wasn't sure, fall in my head has different temperatures. And, as I'm starting to think about what to pack. So I thought this was interesting, so obviously that looks kind of amazing as it relates to temperatures. So highs in the 70s for the most part in most of our ports, actually all of them. Now, if something changes, my name is not signed to this. Okay, if it's 60 degrees, please don't blame me. But that's also not so bad. I can see it lower than that, you being angry at me. But this is what we expect. So obviously, from a packing perspective, I'm thinking, in the evening, wanting to be able to be out as we're sailing away and things like that. Making sure you have some layers or a light jacket, a light sweater, things like that. So. But
And, good for you, because this was your slide and you got the itinerary right. Because on my slide, when I did the itinerary, I think it had Sorrento still on, or no, sorry, it had
yes, Sorrento.
this is the correct itinerary. So sorry about that, because on my slide it had the wrong place, but this is correct. And these temps are glorious. I mean, it's perfect. You don't want it too cold and you don't want it too hot. So it's really, this is a sweet spot. Here's another picture of that culinary center.
Oh, there it is. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. So it's spread out. You've got lots of room. You're not, so yes, it's a stunning venue. And what you can't see behind that is like floor to ceiling windows. So you're not going to miss any sunsets or anything like that. It actually might give you an even better view. So, and they're serving beverages as you're cooking and things like that. So definitely something you may see me passing by.
And somebody asked me recently, I signed that they had signed up for the regular cooking class, not understanding that we were going to have a gluten-free one. And it's still okay. You can cancel. I would get the gluten-free one first because we only have 20 spots on each one. Make sure you're secure with our link, and then you can go in and cancel the other one and get your money back. So if you did that one, because the other one's going to contain gluten, so ours would be gluten-free. This is one of their beautiful bars that they have. It's called the Founders Bar. They do have a casino, which is great. It's small, but it's great. And then the pool area. Oh my gosh, it's just the thing I love about Oceania is look at those chairs. They're all padded, and then they all have the towel wrapped over them. So, for the sea day that we'll be sailing, you might want to sit out there and get a nap or something. It's just gorgeous, and the pools are heated, and it's just great. Lots of things to do on the sports deck. You've got a pickleball or tennis court. They can fix it up either way. Even a golf where you can practice your swing, and mini golf, which is fun too.
Yes, I think we had a few rounds of, it's an 18-hole mini golf too. Very fun. It's at the front of the ship. You cannot beat the views. So it's just a fun. They also, I feel like there is some cornhole and shuffleboard as well. So fun stuff.
I put this picture here because I just love the rooms, the cabins. They're just gorgeous. They're very plush. They're very thoughtfully designed. The bathrooms have a lot of space. It's just really beautiful. Beautiful colors. Uh, so that's it. Oh my gosh, wow. That's our presentation. Let's see if we can stump the band again today. See if we can.
Stump Connie. I always like to play that game in our questions here. So we will get these started here. And again, like you will think of questions later. Please do not panic. You can email them info@celiaccruise.com and we can answer those as they come to your mind. And also for those of you watching this recorded, feel free to send those questions there if we do not answer them today. So here we go. How do we manage restaurant reservations? Um, and how are they handling allergens? So, I mean, we covered that a little bit as it relates. So you're in one restaurant, right? So Polo Grill, Toscana, Red Ginger, we're not going to be rotating. They are rotating essentially to us, which I love. Those menus will be rotating to us, but the way that we have been told that they want us to handle allergens is for us to self-declare what we need, dairy free for whatever the menu is for the next day. And I think you will be blown away with what they're able to create, because I think this is a world of yes, you can, from my experience. So yes. What accommodations can be made for suddenly injured people on board? How about for excursions? Can we cancel or change those? Okay, I think those are two separate questions. So, medic and things like that, I do believe, Connie, they have a.
Yeah, they have a medical clinic on board in case anybody needs some like a doctor's visit, or something like that. If it's something that is of urgent nature, then when we get to the next port of call, there's hospitals available. There's even emergency evacuation by helicopter if we're too far out. That's why travel insurance is so important. If you haven't purchased your travel insurance policy yet, reach out to us at info@celiaccruise.com so we can get you a new quote, because we highly recommend travel insurance. The other part of that question was what?
Excursions, can we cancel or change those?
You can, up to about 2 days prior to that excursion. So plenty of time to do that right now. And even when you get on the cruise, it'll say on the tickets for, let's say for day 7, it'll say you have to cancel by day 3 or 4. So you do have several days to cancel.
Yes. For some excursions, lunch is included. What do we do for celiacs and those with other allergies on these? So I kind of referenced that. That is go at your own risk. I would encourage you to take the to-go lunch option. So you have something. And who knows, maybe you get there and you feel completely comfortable with it. I mean, obviously those of us who've traveled to Europe, and it's in certain times I feel like they have no idea what I'm talking about, but certain times, sometimes their knowledge and expectation. So I would just make sure if there's a way to contact people in advance on those excursions that they know about it. But at the same time, I would exercise extreme. Did I say it enough? Extreme caution. Um, consuming food off of the ship that is not coming from our dedicated spaces. When we order room service, how do we let them know we are with the Celiac Cruise? Well, so what again is going to be amazing is the way I understand it, Connie, and we will confirm this. We will have a specific number to call. So we will have our own line for our own room service. So that way they will know. And we have told them we would like them to confirm verbally, just because we all feel better knowing, this is the Celiac Cruise room service, as you're calling. But then also we have asked them to also make sure when something arrives to the room that there is some type of notation. So again, we are 100% confident. We want you to be able to enjoy that without wondering, why does this taste so good? I hope it is okay. So we're going to have those extra boxes checked so you really can fully enjoy it without having pause as you're taking each bite. I have a tear in my eye. This is so wonderful. Well, we hope, I mean, I think you're going to be blown away. I've had a few tears already, and we haven't even started yet. Do we need to make reservations for the shows?
Nope. Very small ship, very high end. It's space. There's plenty of space for everyone.
Yes. Will the afternoon tea accommodate gluten-free? Yes. Yes, there will. So there will be in a specific on the tray. There's going to be a gluten-free one that comes around. It will be labeled. So we're going to make sure that obviously that is where you choose from. So there will be, and that's again coming from our dedicated galley. All the food that you will be seeing that are gluten-free on that ship will be coming from our dedicated spaces. How many guests on board are with Celiac Cruise? One.
So we had to cap it at the quantity of seats that there were in the dining room. So we're right at about 140, and the ship holds 1,200. So um, we're a small but mighty group.
Mm-hmm. I don't do Facebook. Do you have the same info on Instagram? We do not, and that is only because Instagram does not allow the private groups. So that's why we use Facebook for that. But I will tell you, as long as you're getting the emails, the same exact information is taking place in the emails that we're sending. So there's really no other different information. Obviously, I know what we had just talked about posting the link for the reservations. We can definitely send that out via email as well for the cooking classes. Or check your email from August 13th and you can see it right now. Can you post the link for the cooking classes here? I can do that as I'm multitasking. Maybe Connie can answer the next question and I'll do that. Can we make vegetarian meals in the culinary classes? I saw that chicken may be involved, but I didn't know if that was required. I think
I'm not 100% sure. I know that they sent the menu already.
I will need to check if they can. I'm having the Royal Caribbean language in my head of, no modifications can be made, but I need to confirm that, and we will let you know. So yes.
Yeah, if you'll email us, then we can, that same question, then we can reply back once we know.
Yes. Um, what is the name of the Facebook group? Actually, Susan, I just replied to you. It is the Oceania, but I replied to you right before we started this, and I sent you the direct link for the Facebook group. So again, if you have any issues getting in there, send emails to info@celiaccruise.com, and then I can just direct you exactly there, but check your email. Will you have a gluten-free guide for Athens available before the cruise? Yes. So we will send you the guides prior to, what we would anticipate most people will be leaving. So before I leave, for sure. So I'm leaving on the 24th. You will have them before then. Do we need to pre-order the to-go food for excursions?
We're not exactly sure what the process will be for that, but we will make sure that everybody knows what the procedures are and how to order it. They talked about pre-ordering at one time, and then they talked about having more of a, make your own place. So, we don't know yet, but we will make sure that you know once we know.
Any recommended transfer services from Monte Carlo to Nice?
So the ship can provide you with a transfer at the end of the cruise. Feel free to reach out if you'd like to book one of those. There's also cabs at the port. And it's about a 30 to 45-minute cab ride to the Nice airport.
Okay. Do we need to book specific times for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or can we show up at any time during the eating hours?
So breakfast and lunch is going to be more of a buffet. And so you can show up whenever you want. It's open seating. They will have some menu items, I believe, but they wanted to be quick service so that you could get in and out if you wanted to. For dinner, they're still trying to figure out the best way to accommodate everybody, so that there's no lines. They don't want you to have to wait in lines. It's a much different type of cruise line, and so they may have some reservation options for our dining room, and once we know those details, we'll send them out, but not to worry.
Is there a set time for dinner in Jacques?
No, it's when I think the dining room is open from, 6 to or
6
7 to 10 or
9, yeah,
something. Yeah.
there's like a 3 to there's a range of 6 to 9, 6 to 9:30, so, those details, again, we have a call with them on Monday, actually, and all of those details will be we try to nail them down before this webinar, but this is how working with cruise lines go. They care about a lot of things except our webinar times. Getting the details to you all. Um, do we need special outlet adapters? I'm currently in the US.
So, this is a newer ship, and they have lots of, there's US plugs, but there's also Euro plugs. So we got an adapter that we like. It's a Euro adapter, but on the front of it, you can plug in USBs, USB-Cs, you can plug in regular plugs. And it's just a plug adapter. It's not a currency converter. Yeah, not currency, but electric converter. It's actually just a plug converter adapter. So I can put that in the next email or something, or they're on Amazon for about 15 bucks.
Yes. I don't remember needing, I mean, again, if you need extra ones, but when we sailed on the Vista out of Miami, it's obviously a very, very new ship, which is lovely for many reasons. But I remember even with my need for significant outlets, I was okay, and I did not bring my converter, if that provides any assistance whatsoever. As a US citizen with a US passport and flying into Athens and out of Nice, do we need to have any kind of visa or is our passport sufficient?
Passport is sufficient.
Okay, do we need to choose a dining time at Jacques? We covered that. How and when will we know what our boarding time is?
So, if you've done your guest registration form, then you will receive an email from Oceania when it's time to check in. I know our check-in for the week prior is coming up in a few days. So within the next week to 10 days, you should be able to start your online check-in, and that's where you'll get your boarding time.
We were late to the game and now need help with transfers to and from the ship from hotels.
We can help with that. Just email info@celiaccruise.com.
And I will direct that. Okay, what is the captain's party and when does it take place?
Not sure when it takes place. It might be on the sea night,
Mhm.
because the cruise director, decides when that's going to be on every cruise. And we have one sea day, so I would assume it might be then. And that's when they have the drinks in the lounge and the past hors d'oeuvres. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet the crew and all that. It's fun.
There's, there's the airport. If we booked with air, how do airport transfers work? Any other info we need to know there? I can go to another non-Connie question if she needs me to come back. um, do you need to notify if you don't eat gluten-free oats? Good news, we do not have oats. So no oats. We're not big oats fans either. Um, sorry, I joined late. How do we know if we are registered for the gluten-free culinary class? Well, you would have registered. You should have a receipt too from the Celiac Disease Foundation. So I would just, but you definitely had to formally register. It's $125 per person. So maybe that would jar your memory if you did register. But yes, if you haven't, obviously I would jump on that quick. If we booked with air, okay, can you answer that now? If we booked with air, how do airport transfers work?
So when if you have a transfer included, then when you land in Athens or there'll be a sign with your name on it, an Oceania Cruises sign. And I think she even had a flag, the lady that was there for us. So it's very easy to see after you get your luggage. Then you go out and but they'll take you and help you with your luggage and everything. And going home, if you need a transfer at the end of the cruise, you can book that on the ship. So you don't need to pre-book that ahead of time. You just need to go down to guest services and fill out a form, and they can add the transfers from Monaco to the Nice airport for you.
Yes. Is dining all open seating? Obviously, we've covered that for breakfast and lunch. Dinner, they will be seating us. I think just to make sure we are, managing parties. If there's a party of six, obviously we're going to make sure that the party of six is at the six top and things like that. But for the most part, you will be seated at different tables throughout the evening. But for dinner, the maitre d' will be seating you. But not so much like, the other cruises that you're at the same table every single evening. Do we need visas for any of the stops?
For US citizens, no.
What time do we embark and what time do we disembark?
So everybody will be off the ship probably by about 9. They want you out of your cabins by 8. And they will disembark orderly. You'll be able to get off the ship in an orderly fashion, go through the terminal and collect your luggage and then get on your way. You can get on the ship. They start boarding around 11, depending upon when you get there, or what your boarding time is. They do it in waves. If your boarding time is not till later and you arrive at the terminal earlier, they sometimes will be able to accommodate you. They were able to accommodate us, and we got on earlier than our time. So, they're really good about trying to make sure you get on the ship fast.
Um, so yes, so someone just asked that, what time is disembarkation on the 13th? Obviously the morning because they do need to turn the ship. So, but I don't feel like you feel quite that pressure, right? From an ocean cruise that they're like, get out. But I mean, I do think that you do, the latest you're off the ship is 11 for my 10-ish 11. I don't know. You
Yeah, we did a transfer to the airport, and the very last transfer was at 9 a.m. So,
oh,
and they wanted everybody out of the cabins by 8. So, and then the rest trickled off. So you're right. I mean, it's a leisurely morning. It's not 6:30 unless you need it to be.
yes. Is there an app we can download for managing this trip?
Oceana does not have an app, but everything is on oceanacruises.com, and that's where you'll do all your online check-in. They're old-fashioned. Everything is paper and paper tickets and paper everything, and it's really relaxing and elegant.
Yes, very much. Referring to staterooms, what does GTY mean?
GTY means guarantee. That means that you're guaranteed to have at least that type of room. So let's say it's balcony guarantee. So you're guaranteed to have a balcony. You just don't know where that location of that cabin will be on the ship. And then also there's a possibility that you could get an upgrade, potentially. So it's kind of like a hotel. You don't know where your cabin will be until you check in.
When can we do our online check-in as it doesn't appear available yet?
I would say within the next week to 10 days, it should open.
Yes. What time? Okay, I covered that. What time can you board the ship on the 3rd? You'll be given that information. I mean, usually, generally speaking, it's 11 on.
Around noon. Around noon, yeah.
Okay. Um, if we're staying one night in Monte Carlo, can the cruise still organize a transfer the following day?
No. They can only, do a transfer for the day that you get off the ship, but you could ask your hotel to organize a taxi for you, or you could get an, transfer through us if you want to.
Okay, do we need, and send that to info@celiaccruise.com and I will direct it to the correct person. Do we need to, oh, we covered that. Does the transfer to the pre-cruise hotel work the same with an Oceania representative waiting after we collect our luggage?
Yes, if you booked a cruise hotel through Oceania, then it works the exact same way,
What
unless
is,
you booked an extra day. So if you did that, and you have questions, it should be on your eDocs when they come out. But if you have questions, feel free to send them on and we'll confirm it with you.
what is the best way to get from your hotel to the ship?
Taxi or, ask your hotel if they can arrange something. Sometimes they have deals where it's less expensive. I know in Seattle, that's how it works for us. We always ask the hotel and they're much, they have people they use. So I would ask your hotel.
Is there a Celiac Cruise gathering on embarkation day? Yes, we will have a get together at or around sail away. So look for information on that in our final email blast that we'll be sending you. After embarking, can we leave the ship on October 3rd? As long as you're
Oh.
back on board.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be back on board by all aboard time, but yes, you can check in and then go back off.
Yes. Um, I read something about an airport tax in Athens. Is that something we need to do upon arrival?
I think it's part of the airline ticket, but we can confirm that too. I I didn't have to pay one, so it must have been part of the ticket. I don't know, or it might be part of your hotel room, but we can find out. If you'll email us, we can reply back to that one.
Yes. Do we need to be back on the ship 1 hour before leaving each port? Connie, do you want to answer that? Okay, so
Yes, it's usually 30 minutes, but they'll say all aboard time for guests. Just please note that time. Remember that time. Write that time down. Make a picture of that time because I almost missed the cruise last week. I thought we were leaving at 6:30 and we were leaving at 2. So I was almost left and that was a rookie mistake because that was my first cruise ever. Just kidding. And, it was funny because I made it, but if I hadn't made it, it would have been a lot because they would have left me. So, it's usually 30 minutes before we leave, but there's an all aboard time. So just stick with it.
and usually, so what I always do, there's a sign when you're getting off at the gangway. I always mentally look at that sign because I'm not really great at reading things in my cabin. Guilty. So I always check that. And there's always a sign, even Oceania, every cruise line we're on, there's a sign that says all aboard. You know, sometimes it says guests, sometimes it says crew, but obviously we know who we are. So now you all mentally make a note to do that. I'm confused regarding the room allocation answer. Okay, so only if you have GTY as a part of your reservation does that response apply to you. So yes, many of you have allocated rooms and those rooms have already been identified. There are sometimes options that you can get what's called a guaranteed GTY, and that's when that cabin is assigned later. But if that is not what your reservation indicates, then that answer essentially does not apply to you because that's not the kind of cabin. That's not your reservation status. Does the ship stay the same time for the entire cruise? That's the captain's decision. Did you know that, Mike? I thought that was fantastic. The captain decides whatever he wants to do. I mean, he could say we're in Eastern time if he wanted to, but that would really confuse people. Because obviously we would not be in line with our shore excursion. So a lot of times, obviously they do not want time changes the night immediately before we're returning, because then think people are an hour off and they'll be tired and they'll be late, and what percentage of people are confused. So sometimes they would shift the time change back the night prior to our returning, but they will always indicate that and sometimes put little notifications on the bed. um, I'm sharing the trip with someone else who isn't a celiac. Can they simply eat at the other restaurants rather than join me at Jacques or Ember? Yes, but I promise you, I bet our food's going to be better. But that's just that's my challenge to them. Connie and I always say when you've got the traveling corporate team with you, that's saying something. They didn't get there by coincidence. So, but of course, I mean, but obviously, I think they'll have to talk to the maitre d and such, because they are allocated to be, if they're in our group, the numbers are allocated to be in Jacques. So that would have to be a specific conversation. Am I right, Connie?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. I think, the grand dining room is available, to anyone, which is fine, if they wanna go there, and of course, the grill and certain things like that, the buffet. But, the specialty restaurants, because their food is gonna be into our, menus, then, unless there was some kind of space available.
So, all right, look at that, 3 o'clock on the nose.
Wow, we did good.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. And again, I know questions will pop up. Just please email them. I've already seen a bunch of emails about Syracuse, so please let me know if you would be interested so I can gauge interest for that. But yes, everyone have safe travels. Obviously, you will be hearing from us. A fair amount prior to, but obviously this is the last verbal chance we'll get. Safe travels. We cannot wait to see you in Athens on October 3rd. And we'll be on the ship waiting for you to get there. So thank you all so much. And we can't wait to experience this inaugural experience with everybody. So it's going to be amazing. So take care. Have an awesome rest of the week, and we'll see you real soon.
Thanks, everyone.
And safe
Bye-bye.
travels, Connie.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.